Welcome back, I'm Paul, and today we have an empty lotto barrel. So we've got two containers here of rocks that have been ran through coarse grit in my rotary tumblers, and I always do medium grit to the polish in the lotto tumbler. So I think I've got more than will fit in there, but there's some of these ones that I'm not ready to start polishing it. I might touch them up a little bit yet. So there's a lot of miscellaneous stuff. All these came from my weekly clean out on my 12-pound barrel. So I roll them in there, and then when they're ready to go, I put them in these totes until I've got the lotto ready to go. Most of these are rocks that have a flaw here or there that I couldn't get rid of. I have another one that has all the ones that are like basically perfect. Because when they have the flaws in them like this, you have to spend a lot more time cleaning them between stages. But on the ones that I have that are like perfect with no cracks, no holes, you don't have to wash them as well because there's nothing to hold on grit to move it to the next stage. But these, you got to be a little bit more careful. So I keep them separate. I've got a couple of conglomerate rocks there that we've been pulling out of our weekly videos, and some pieces of agate. Just a random piece of agate. I've got some Wild Horse picture jasper in here. This one's got a crack in it. It's hard to see, but that black line right there is a crack. And I could break it, but I am just going to tumble it like it is and see what it looks like. I've got another conglomerate. It's the first time I've tumbled in, or polished any of these, or tumbled any of these, period. So we'll see if they turn out very good. I've got quite a few of them. There's another one right here that we just pulled out of the rotary. We'll throw that in. Some chert, some miscellaneous agates that I don't know what they are. They came in a box of stuff I bought. I'm not ready to put that in yet. Another, like I say, a lot of miscellaneous stuff. It'll take a polish. It'll take a shine. I don't know what it is though. Alright, that's kind of a cool piece of chalcedony. Yeah, we're just going to load this up. Alright, here's one of the ones that I've been waiting to polish for a while. It's got a blue tint to the chalcedony, and then it's got like some moss in it that's like yellow. And it kind of looks like flames. I kind of like that one. So we'll see. That might go in our favorites jar when it comes out of here. Got another piece of Wild Horse picture jasper. This one's got a big, you can see that groove on the backside there, and I wasn't going to mess with it much more. I would have tumbled it to nothing trying to get it out. Same with this one. Alright. It's been a while since we ran a vacuum here because I was doing some other stuff in the lotto. So some of these have been sitting around for a while. We're just going to load them all in there. Nothing too exciting. But if there is anything that turns out really nice, we'll take a closer look at the end when it's all done. Alright. There's all those. I got some tiny ones that go into a little jar that my daughter has in her room. Okay, I know those ones I don't want to put in there yet. And this one, I'm trying to save some of this is Mookieite jasper. I'm saving some of that as it comes out of that barrel, so maybe I can do a whole batch of it. Alright, there's another one of those. I've got some of these that have, it's some kind of chalcedony or agate, and it's got some moss in it or something. They polish up nice. I think maybe we'll call that good, because I like to run a little ceramic media in there. I don't have my funnel over here, but I don't need much. Oh, it's slick. Just came out of polish. All right, I think that looks pretty good. So I will, it's got water in it. I'll dump the water through my fingers upside down so everything inside is wet, but no standing water, and I'll set the camera up on the Lotto, and we will get it rolling with the medium grit. All right, we're all set up. It'll take 2 tablespoons of the 120-220 medium grit silicon carbide, and it'll go for 3 days. And I'll check it a few times a day to make sure that it has enough water. It was rolling kind of slow. I think I can live with that. Alright, we'll stop back in and look at them after they've gone for 3 days, and we move them over to the next stage. Alright, so I pretty well do the same thing in between every stage. So they ran for 3 days in the 120-220 medium grit, and then I just washed the rocks, washed the barrel, and then they went to 500 silicon carbide, and I use a half a teaspoon and a tablespoon of borax, and they run for 3 days. And then I washed them again, washed the barrel and everything, all the rocks, and then they went back in on 1,000 grit aluminum oxide, or silicon carbide, 1,000 grit silicon carbide, and it was again a half a tablespoon, or half a teaspoon of the 1,000, and then a tablespoon of the borax. So I just do the same thing every time. On the 120-220, it gets 2 tablespoons, and I don't put borax in that. In all the other stages, I use 1 tablespoon of borax and a half a teaspoon, whether it's 500, 1,000, or the polish. So they've been in the 1,000 grit silicon carbide for 3 days. So we're going to rinse them out, and whenever I go for my silicon carbide grits, which sometimes I go from 500 straight to polish, but I recently got the 1,000 grit, and it uses such a small amount that I've been doing it on all of them. So now I go 1,000 grit, then the polish. So when I go from the silicon carbide to the aluminum oxide, which is my polish, I do a burnish cycle just to clean my barrel, because I use the same barrel for everything because I only have the one. So we're going to rinse these all out, rinse the barrel good, wash the rocks good, and then we're going to put them back in for just a few hours with just a tablespoon of borax, and they'll run for a few hours, and then we'll give them another really good clean, and then we'll put them into the polish stage. I skipped a few of the steps on the video just because I do the same thing every time, and we don't really let them dry to see what they even look like. So there's not a whole lot to see there. It's the same thing every time. And before I rinse them, like right now, I'd added extra water and some dish soap, a few drops of dish soap. It just helps clean them up a little easier. This is just a miscellaneous batch of stuff that we pulled out of our 12-pound barrel on our weekly video that we go through that 12-pound barrel. I've just got a lot of miscellaneous stuff in there. We've got like this is like a conglomerate rock. I've got a couple of those in here. There's another one like that. A little bit different, but same principle. And we've got a couple agates. I don't know what kind of agate that is, but you can kind of see some of the bands and stuff in it. And I think that that's a piece of Wild Horse Picture Jasper. It doesn't have a lot of color to it. This one's Wild Horse Picture Jasper. So there's a lot of miscellaneous stuff. There's a nice little piece of agate that has like a little bit of a purple tint to it. It's kind of got like some yellow in it. One of my favorites. So, yeah, so there's a lot of miscellaneous stuff in there. But we're going to put this back in the barrel, and it'll go for 2 hours with the burnish cycle just to get everything good and clean, and then I'll do a better wash on them also before we get them ready to go into polish. All right, we'll get them going in the burnish, and when we come back, when I come back, we'll probably have them all rinsed and ready to go, and we'll have them on the tumbler ready to go into polish. And I'll walk through what I do for polish. All right, they've been burnished for a few hours, and I've gone through and washed everything really well. I scrubbed all this is a miscellaneous batch, and a lot of them have flaws, so I scrubbed them all out, and I like to use high pressure water, and you can really squirt all the old slurry and stuff out of all those before you get them going in polish. So everything's wet. We're going to get it rolling, and we'll do a half a teaspoon of the aluminum oxide polish, and then also 1 tablespoon of the borax. That's what the aluminum oxide polish looks like. I know the polish, they rate it in microns. I think that this stuff is like 3 microns, if I remember right. And then I got some cerium oxide that we're going to try on some other stuff in the future, and that was smaller, like under 1 micron, if I remember right. I think I've also seen this called 1200 grit, but I'm not 100% sure if that was right either. That's what I've got it marked as. But when I order it now, they rate it in microns from what I've seen. Alright, there's the polish. And a tablespoon of borax. I'll check the water a few times a day, and we'll let them go for about 3 days, and we'll be back and we'll clean them all up, or maybe I'll have them clean, I'm not sure, and we'll take a look at some of them. Our rocks are all dry, everything's been cleaned, and this is the results of our miscellaneous batch. All this stuff is just random things that we've been rolling in our 12-pound barrel that we wash every week, and we have a little video on it. So this is like a piece of shirt that we found locally. Everything in the batch pretty well took a good shine. And a lot of these have flaws on them and stuff, but they were to the point we're ready to polish them. A piece of Wild Horse Picture Jasper. And I think that this is also a piece of Wild Horse Picture Jasper. It doesn't have the same colors as most of them, but it came in that batch. So we also have a conglomerate. Actually shined pretty nice. I wasn't sure how well it would shine up, but it did good. It looks pretty nice. It doesn't want to focus very well. Keeps focused on that back pile pretty well, but. And then this is another one of our conglomerates. I don't know that much about those yet. I got to do a little research. And we had a waterline agate here. You can see, I've heard them called waterline or water level or anything like that. Looks pretty good. This is a, if I can get it to focus, you can see on this end that it's a Botswana. It's got some really fine bands on that end right there, but it doesn't want to focus very well. And there's a lot of miscellaneous agates and jaspers in here that I don't really know that much about. I didn't collect them. It was a box that we had ordered, and supposedly it was all tumble quality, so we tumbled it, and a lot of it turned out pretty nice. A lot of it doesn't have much going on. Fairly boring, but it shined up nice. And we don't have to look at everything, but there's another Botswana. It's been floating around in the 12-pound barrel for a while. And we finally decided to move it on. It's got a nice shine. Let's see, I believe that this was another, I thought that this was a Botswana, but I'm not 100% sure now. Some type of an agate. Has a little transparency to it right there. I had this one on the flashlight. It also is an agate. Has parts of it are agate, at least has transparency. So this is another Wild Horse Picture Jasper. And I don't know what I got to do to make it focus. I'm going to have to work on that. It focuses on that pile pretty nice. Yeah, there's not a whole lot else. A lot of stuff that's all similar. And maybe I'll take some photos and put them on at the end. Sometimes you can see a better detail on the photos. Maybe even get the flashlight on some of them. But that's about all this batch is. so we don't have to look at all of them. But they took a nice shine. And we have an empty lotto barrel, so sounds like we're about ready to start another batch. We'll see what we've got ready to move on. So thanks for watching.